Howdy, guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to night 26 of the Overnight Feeds recaps for Big Brother Season 25. Good Monday to all of y'all. All right, yesterday was actually kind of chill. We didn't have as much chaos as we've had in the past. There's still a flip planned. We'll talk about that, but yeah, it's like everyone in the house just took a little bit of a breather while they could. Veto ceremonies today, things may pick right back up again, and we'll have all the chaos that we've come to expect from this cast. But yeah, last night, little game talk, but not a lot. But we're certainly going to talk about the key points that were made last night. A lot of them not necessarily gameplay. We'll talk about them as well. First of all, let's talk about what we do know with the house, kind of the state of the house right now. Cameron is HOH. Red won the veto. Jag and Blue are on the block. Now, Red won the veto, but really there's no anticipation that he's going to use the veto today. Jag at one point said, yeah, I'd love to see it happen, but he knows it's not going to happen. Blue knows it's not going to happen. So veto ceremony should be pretty simple this morning. So we should have Jag and Blue on the block coming into Thursday. Now, we do have the voting, which I think ends today for these 4 slots. 4 people are going to be able to compete. The winner gets some kind of ultimate invincibility. If it was Jag or Blue, that could shake things up a little bit. We'll see how that works out. We don't know what's going to happen just yet, but it looks like it'll be Jag and Blue on the block Thursday. And except for potentially that twist, one or the other would be going home. The big question still, is there going to be a flip? Are they going to actually save Jag, send Blue home? That's still the plan. So let's talk about the feeds themselves. All right, first of all, no real big aftermath repercussions yet to Jared opening his mouth and basically telling Blue that his mom is in the house. Uncertainty whether it's Felicia or Cirie. I'm not sure that ever got worked out, but nothing major has happened with that yet. We did have, though, earlier in the morning yesterday, Blue talking to Felicia and Cirie about having babies, them being grandmas, baby names. Just that kind of conversation. Coincidence, or was she prying for a little information with names and such? I don't know. I'm fingers crossed that that's Blue's version of doing a little bit of investigating, that she may continue to do so, and that this thing may come to a head at some point this week. What an exciting night that would be. But yeah, she started asking a few funny questions early in the morning, so we'll see what becomes of that. All right, we did have Cirie and Jared talking. Cirie has told Jared, do not trust Corey. Remember, she had said last night, I think, or the night before, that she maybe was just going to tell Jared stop talking to Corey at all. Well, she didn't quite come out that strong, but she said, do not trust Corey with what you're doing. She did tell him of the plan to save Jag, send Blue out the door. Now, I don't think anyone else in her group, particularly Izzy, realizes that Cirie has already mentioned this to Jared, because there were several conversations throughout the day of Izzy still saying, let's not tell Blue, let's not tell Jared until last possible moment and all that. Well, Cirie has already spilled the beans to some extent. So she did tell Jared that they're going to save Jag, they're going to send Blue home. And again, originally they weren't going to say anything about it until much later. Jared does not like that plan at all. I think he says something about it's not going to help my game. She's my +1. You're the one that wanted us to all have +1s. Well, she's my +1, and now you're sending her out the door. Said, doesn't help me at all. And he actually says, you and Felicia and Izzy, y'all guys have lost my trust. By doing this, there's just not the trust there. And it is what it is. I'm done. I think that's the words he used. I'm done. Well, we'll see if that actually comes into play or not. But he's not happy that they're making this plan, as we knew he would not be. When he leaves, Cirie refers to him as being stupid for thinking that Blue could be his savior. I don't think that's the only reason that Jared wants to hold on to Blue for just a little bit longer. I don't know that it's got a lot to do with strategic gameplay and +1s. She's another kind of +1 for Jared that Cirie does not know about yet. I tell you what, once Cirie finds out, you think she's feeling like she wants to save Jag now? Wait till she finds that out. So again, we'll see how those things pan out going forward. All right, we got Izzy upset. Izzy is upset because Bowie Jane got upset, and what a silly situation. Bowie Jane was upset from the night before that they wouldn't turn the lights off in the have not room because Izzy and Corey were still outside. So she had complained, I think it was to Red and Cirie, if I remember. Well, now word's gotten back to Izzy that Bowie Jane is upset that she's complaining to everyone about Izzy. And it seems like Izzy's catching the brunt of this, that Izzy was not going to bed last night, and it just made life miserable for Bowie Jane because the have not lights turned on. Izzy does not like hearing that. Eventually, though, it turns into a conversation between Izzy and Cirie where they agree that Bowie Jane she's being brainwashed by Red and Cameron. People are noticing that Bowie's hanging out with these two a little bit more. She's got to be careful with that. So they're both agreeing, said, yeah, she's just being brainwashed by those two guys. Cirie is telling Izzy that, on the good side, any renomination talk of the veto being used, you go on the block. She said, that's dead. It's not going to happen, Izzy. You're safe for this week. Izzy is thinking ahead because she asked Cirie at one point, kind of just out of the blue, she says, look, if there ever comes a time where I and Jared are on the block, Cirie, could you just promise me that you'll be straightforward and honest with what you're going to do and everything else? And Cirie's kind of taken aback, saying, well, why would you think that the two of y'all would ever be on the block together? In fact, I think she says, it's a lot more likely you and I are going to end up on the block someday rather than you and Jared. But Izzy is certainly worried about that. Is Izzy starting to feel like the third wheel in this group? Is it starting to finally dawn on her that she may not have the best situation if it's a final three of her and a mother and a son? I don't know, but she's obviously thinking about what Cirie would do, where her loyalties truly lie in asking that question. Izzy is still worried that she could be a target, if not this week, that she could be a target next week, depending on who wins the HOH. And Cirie and Felicia are in there, and they're trying to calm her down a little bit by counting votes. Again, Cirie saying, look, it's probably more likely it'd be like Felicia and Corey or you and me or something else. But she's saying, we've got the votes. As long as there's just one of us up there, we should be good, Izzy. So Izzy and her typical paranoia, worried about it, and they're trying to soothe her down a little bit. Cirie is talking about plans for this week, saying, look, when we save Jag, the other side is going to be shocked. They're going to, at that point, try to bring in Jared. Jared's on our side. If they bring in Jared, that should give us some good information from him. We should be very good. Let's just save Jag and make this thing happen. She also does make a mention. She says that after Jag goes, so she's talking about saving Jag this week, but certainly Jag is still way down at the bottom of any alliances, because she immediately is saying, and then after Jag goes, at that point, we're going to send Corey out the door as well. Corey is not getting a lot of faith and trust right now, because of the fact that the beans were spilled about the 7 deadly sins to America, and it came from Corey, it came from Jared. So yeah, Cirie still has a target set on Corey, but obviously she sees him as a person she can work with, so not an immediate target. But yeah, she's saying, all right, Blue goes home this week, and then we'll get at Jag and Corey soon after that. All right. Remember I talked about Bowie Jane and people noticing maybe her hanging around with Cameron and Red a little bit? Well, she goes upstairs. She's hanging out in the HOH room with Cameron and Red. She's complaining about Izzy. She did a lot of that. Complaining about Izzy, saying not just the have not lights and all that, but she's saying that Izzy's just been snapping at her for weeks. She says, as Australians are supposed to be friendly and all, but I would love to tell Izzy to just shut the bleep 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 up and all that. So she's not happy with Izzy. Cameron's talking about Izzy, saying that he thinks that she is probably more beatable than Jag, or did I say Izzy? Cameron's talking about Izzy. Moving on from Bowie. Cameron's talking about Izzy, saying he thinks that she's probably more beatable than Jag or America or Corey. So again, Cameron and Izzy are just not jiving well at all. You certainly see them as being each other's primary target, but here we have Cameron actually thinking that Izzy, just because she isn't going to be able to compete in front of a jury, that she's not maybe as likable, that she's not from a competition standpoint as likely to win things. So he's actually saying, he says, I want to have her on jury. Not necessarily beyond that, he says, but she is more beatable than these other guys. So it sounds like Cameron has other targets he's tolerating Izzy because he thinks there's other people that are going to be tougher in the end game, being Jag, America, and Corey. All right, Cameron thinks Corey is a good player, will be a good comp player, but he also says, as much as he's going to be tough to get out on it down the road because he could win some competitions, he says he's also good for information right now. Why get rid of him if he's spilling some stuff to us? So we'll hold on to Corey for right now. Cameron is thinking that his friendship with America will protect him from Corey, that if Corey was to win HOH, he would probably not put Cameron on the block because Cameron's friends with America, and therefore America would talk Corey out of putting him up. We'll see if that happens. All right, then finally we got Cameron saying that they have, I thought this way, Cameron saying that they have Cirie in their pocket and that she would talk Izzy off any ledge. And I assume he's talking about if Izzy was to win HOH, that Cirie would talk her out of putting up Red and Cameron, that, again, Cirie's in their back pocket. I think it's the other way around, guys. And I don't think if Izzy wins HOH that you should count on Red and Cameron not being put on the block, because they are definitely targets number 1 and number 2. But they're feeling they've got Cirie wrapped around their little finger. They may find out a little differently before too long at all. All right, we did have we had Jared and Blue talking in this scary room. Just a little flirting talk and nothing too serious. But the one thing that Jared did say that kind of jumped at me, Jared says he's never been away from his girlfriend for more than a month. He said his girlfriend, not his ex-girlfriend. So what does that say for what he thinks status of his relationship is outside the house? I don't know. Just because he's saying girlfriend may not mean that's necessarily the case. But he's telling Blue that. I've been away from my girlfriend for a month. So he must think Blue is a very tolerant person, and he must think that his girlfriend back home is a very tolerant person as well. Of course, Blue turns right around and talks about taking a trip to California and saying they could take their significant others with them as well. And Jared is saying, I don't think that's going to work. I don't think it'd work either. All right. We did have the backyard closed. At first I thought, it's some big, huge HOH plan. They're shutting the yard down early. Now it's for Nicole's dinner. Remember, as part of the pressure cooker, Nicole had won a prize of a free dinner for her and 3 of her fellow house guests that she has to choose. That's always tough when you have to make that kind of choice. Turns out they're not going anywhere exotic. They're just going to the backyard, which still, nothing wrong with that. But the yard is closed down for the dinner party. Turns out that she ended up taking Cirie and Felicia and America to the backyard dinner, and she threw out the excuse, because I got to think Izzy hears that and says, well, come on, man, you're not taking me, Nicole, you're taking America over me. Can't be happy about that. But later Nicole pointed out that she took Felicia and Cirie because they do so much work around the house, cooking, things like that. Okay. And then finally that she took America because America had come so close to winning this thing, and she didn't get any kind of prize at second place whatsoever. So, I'm not sure I'm fully buying that as the reason she did it. She's trying to work on her alliance and relationships as well. Fair enough. You have to do that. Dinner party's perfect time to take advantage of it. So they went out there, they had dinner. Not even sure what all they ate, but they did have wine. And all of them seemed to be really enjoying the effects of the wine when they got back in the house. All right, while that's taking place, we've got Izzy visiting with Red and Cameron. Remember, they're all part of this Legends 25 alliance, which valid this week. Next week, maybe not so much, but Izzy's visiting with them. They're being casual in their conversations with each other. Not a whole lot being said. Red does mention that he does not trust America. Izzy's talking about Bowie Jane again. Izzy asked Cameron how he felt about her, because they've had conflict, right? She says, so how are you feeling about me, Cameron? And he says, well, Corey loves you and we love Corey, so he just kind of left it at that. I guess it's better than what he could have said, but seems a little weak sauce there. But he's saying, as long as Corey's okay with you and we're okay with Corey, then we'll work together. And I really think that's their attitude at this point in time. Now, Cameron's already said he doesn't really want to be part of Legends 25, so I think he'll be ready to pull a trigger at some point in time. But at least for right now, they're willing to work with Izzy because of the relationships they have with each other and all that. All right. We have the showmances in full play last night. Jared and Blue in the scary room. Corey and America in the have not room. They get onto the swinging bed. America has all kinds of suggestive statements in between a little game talk. She's talking about how they could make this bed go swinging, and we'll talk about bones and lotions, and yeah, let your imagination run wild. But America's certainly putting on the full court flirting press, so to speak, with Corey. It's kind of fun to watch. They did have a little bit of game talk, not a lot, but they had a little bit. Corey saying that Jag thinks that the Seven Deadly Sins alliance is real, and America saying how could he be that dumb that he still believes that's actually a thing. Well, it may save Jag this week, so kind of real, at least for now. America is saying that they're kind of worried that Jag hasn't really been pushing hard or doing a whole lot for campaigning or saying a lot for the votes. I think he just understands he needs to wait a little bit closer to the vote itself, that the veto is not being used, so why put the press on right now? But they're a little bit worried about that. America says that Jag told her that he's going to win the battle back. He'll be back in even if he gets sent out the door. Well, doesn't look like there's going to be a battle back. So Jag better hope this plan to flip works to his benefit instead. All right, we have lots of fun in the bathroom downstairs as the house, basically everyone's in there, as the house decides to prank Corey and America by throwing some condoms at them or towards them or something while they're upstairs in the have not room, which sounds like a fun little middle school childish kind of idea. But whatever, you got to have fun at the house, right? The problem is that they can't find the condoms. The condoms have disappeared, and Jared was quick to point out that the condoms are in the storage room. And people say, how did he know they were there? How did he know immediately how quick he responded to where the condoms were? They go in there and they look, they're not there. Everyone's immediately like, oh, who's using them? What's going on? Felicia, who may have had a little wine during her dinner with Nicole, has made it her mission to find these condoms. She's looking everywhere. She wants everyone else to look. Eventually, they do find them. What's funny is the whole time this is happening, they keep saying, "What happened to the condoms?" And they keep zooming in on there you go. They keep zooming in. The cameraman zooming in on Jared, zooming on Blue with these looks like deer in the headlights kind of thing. The cameramen were having some fun last night, but eventually they did find the condoms, and Izzy ran up and just barely opened the have not room, stuck the condoms in there, and then took off running. And Corey and America look over, and I'm not even sure they noticed what they were, and they're saying, was that Jared or something? We don't even know what's going on. So yeah, the prank didn't quite go off the way they thought, but they're all laughing about it. They're having fun. Again, not game talk, just people trying to have fun in a very boring house. All right, we do have Cirie talking to Matt, saying that Red is worried about Cameron flirting with America. Remember, Cameron already said, I'm tight enough with America that if Corey wins anything, he won't put me up. So Red's a little bit worried. He thinks that Cameron maybe is overdoing it a little bit with his flirting with America. Cirie mentions that the power of women, and a different word was used, which I don't use, but she says the power of women is stronger than you think. If only she knew. If only she knew the power of women that's taken a hold of her son upstairs in the have not, or not have not, in the lounge area itself. But we'll see if she finds out later. All right. Eventually, Izzy comes in and says that Corey thinks that if Red was HOH, that he would put up Blue and one of us being Cirie, Felicia, Izzy, of that group. So Izzy's still worried about Red and Cameron and what they're going to do. All right, we've got Nicole talking to the cameras, one of her soliloquies. She's saying that she doesn't trust America or Corey. I'm telling you, America and Corey just don't have a lot of fans in this house right now. Everyone, except for Cameron. But other than that, everyone just seems to kind of lost some trust with these two. She's saying also that most of the talk in the house just serves her no purpose. She's got a point. Nicole spends a lot more time listening than talking, and I think that's going to serve her well going forward. She hasn't overcommitted. She hasn't done anything to make people mad. I think Nicole's setting herself up pretty well for a good run towards the end. She's going to have to win a few comps, but I think she's doing what she needs to do pre-jury phase of this game right now. All right, we've got Cirie and Red in the comic room. Red is upset that Izzy made a joke about him that he thinks was offensive. Cirie really has just turned into the house mom. Bowie Jane's up there complaining that, oh, they won't go to bed, so the lights are still on. And Cirie's like, oh, we'll talk about it. We'll get it taken care of. Now Red's up there saying, Izzy told a joke about me that was offensive. And Cirie said, oh, she probably didn't mean everything. Everyone's going to Cirie complaining and whining about different things in the house. How did Cirie get that position that everyone trusts her, everyone works with her? It's amazing the power that she has, her social game itself. So yeah, Cirie, the house mom. All right, we had a lot of the backyard opened up. We had lots of different groups hanging out, talking about social media, other reality shows, just general stuff, music, etc. No game talk. Too many people out there all at once. Of course, when you have alliances of 8 or 9 people, you have a lot of people hanging out and still talk game, but no game that I heard last night. Just people hanging out primarily. We did have Nicole and Jared and Matt in the hammock. They're talking about Bowie and Red and Cameron, that they really just seem to be vibing together. They're noticing how tight they are with each other. And so certainly some people are getting worried about that. Jared is talking about Cameron, saying, man, this guy's really building up a resume. He was on the block 2 weeks, had himself pulled off, and or at least survived. And he's saying he's building up quite the resume. There is no way, if I win HOH, that Cameron is staying. No way in the world that that's going to happen. Well, we'll see if that happens or not, Jared. You got to win something first. And so far, other than that competition with Hassan, Jared really hadn't done a whole lot to show that he's a comp beast in this game just yet. But he's saying if he wins HOH, no way is Cameron sticking around. All right, he's also thinking that Red just won't be as strong or the same without Cameron, that those two are so tight, but if he can get rid of Cameron, Red becomes a little more pliable and a little easier to deal with. And then again, he mentions that Cameron's really building quite the resume. So Jared's trying to make sure that Cameron's name stays out there as much as possible as people are thinking about what to do next week. All right, we've got Corey alone in the hammock for just a little bit. He's worried that his game is going to be affected. I think he's talking about by a showmance that he potentially is getting pulled into. He's doing enough of his own. Let's not pretend like it's one-sided, but certainly, he's a little bit worried about that. He's saying he's not going to throw his game away for a showmance. That he has to focus on the game. Always. We'll see how that works out. America does show up just a little bit later, and Corey says that he is staying up until 4:00 just to spite Bowie, just because she was so perturbed about the lights being on, that he's going to stay up to 4 just because. And so I thought that was pretty funny. Corey saying that, talking about some of the other house guests, he's saying that he really had a lot of respect for Cirie and everything, that now that he's in the house with her, she's just another person. And he's saying she actually panics way too much. I agree with Corey on that she's little lacking in that game. I think it's just the time limits of Survivor versus Big Brother. A lot more downtime in Big Brother, a lot more time to think and get paranoid and panic, which he thinks that she does way too much of. The only reason we don't see Cirie panicking even more is because Izzy does even more of it. So it makes Cirie look pretty calm in comparison. But yeah, I agree with Corey on that. Corey is saying that he would love to send home Blue this week, but he just doesn't think that that's going to happen. Well, you aren't privy to all the information just yet, Corey. You may get a nice little pleasant surprise come Thursday. We'll see. That's still a long time on down the road. Corey thinks that Cameron could go next week. Regardless of what happens this week, he recognizes that he's a huge target. I agree with that. Lots of people are going to be gunning for Cameron. America is saying that she's a little sad that Jag is heading home this week. She says she's feeling less overwhelmed. I guess now that things seem a little more stable in terms of what is going to happen. And so maybe she's not spending quite as much time worrying about Jag versus Blue and all that, but she's saying that she's a little disappointed that he's going to be heading home this weekend or this week. Maybe you won't be so disappointed. There's lots of friendly non-game talk. They're talking about reality shows that different people could do. Of all the reality shows that you could pick to go on with someone else, they want to go on to Wipeout together. Is it still a show? Maybe it is. I know they had a second version of it come out, but they want to do Wipeout. Yeah, not Amazing Race, not the challenge. They want to do Wipeout. So there you go. But they're talking about reality shows, candy bars, flying, taking trips, things like that. Just casual, very innocent talk at this point in time. Eventually, we get Cameron coming out after a diary room session, just a little bit chit chat for a little while, and then he leaves. And Corey and America are talking about the fact that, yeah, it's amazing. He can just come out and just come right to where we are and just kind of start talking. And they're saying, yeah, Bowie Jane does the same thing. And America saying, I could never do something like that. And sometimes you have to do that during the game. Sometimes it benefits you to go in and break up some other conversations and just make your presence felt for a little bit. But he didn't stay around forever. He eventually left. So it turns back to just America and Corey talking. They're talking about Jag. They're talking about the fact, I think it's Corey that mentions that he really feels like Jag trusts Cirie and Izzy a lot more than he trusts Corey and America. So that worries him a little bit. That he says at first he really liked Jag and his social game, but Jag can be a little too much at times. And that's a little bit of an issue. He just doesn't necessarily, he thinks Jag comes on too strong occasionally. Corey's also talking about Blue. He's saying Blue is a non-factor, that she won't put them up, but she won't really do anything to benefit them either. So she's just kind of out there. They're not thinking one way or the other with regards to Blue. He is talking about who he's worried about and things like that. He talks about Felicia and saying that he really thinks Felicia would potentially nominate the two of them if she got an HOH again. Would she? Yeah, maybe. She's not in the Corey America bandwagon, so to speak. So yeah, I could maybe see that happening. I guess it's a valid concern. And then finally, Corey's talking about he talks about how he played a lot of online Big Brother, and he always made it to the very end with no jury votes or anything. It's amazing how well you do when you play some of these online versions, but then you get in the Big Brother house, and sometimes a little tougher than you think. But he's talking about that. He's talking about that he had mapped out strategy and gameplay and everything before coming into the house. And he pretty much knew that he was going to be outside the majority just because of who he is, his age, and everything else. So he figured to be outside the majority. Well, at least you're prepared for it, Corey. And with that, I don't know. They hung out for a little bit. Lights out by 3:45, 4 o'clock or so. So again, this evening, in summary, yes, a flip is still being planned to save Jag, send Blue out the door. No, we haven't had any repercussions yet for Jared telling Blue that his mom is inside the house, but that still could be the case. Bowie is still upset with Izzy. Izzy is still upset with Bowie. No one trusts Red or Cameron or Bowie, and no one's really trusting Corey in America either. Did I get it all? And there's still like 50 alliances out there as well. All of them fake. I think maybe the For Real is the most legit alliance that we've got right now, or the Bye Bye Bees. But we'll see. That could all change tomorrow. All right, guys, I'm going to call it right there. Just as a quick mention, I do have on tonight, Cliff Notes Live, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. We're going to be talking all things Big Brother. So you have any questions, comments, opinions about the way the season's going, your favorites, your villains of the cast, anything, come on out, because it's all about chatting and talking and just all Big Brother tonight. Again, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. I'll see y'all either tonight, or I'll be back tomorrow morning to give you a recap of the veto ceremony and see if the campaigning starts off after that happens. Until then, guys, y'all have a great one. SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye.